Hello and welcome to True Audiophiles. Before I get too deep into my episode this week, I kind of wanted to talk about a couple things. First thing is if you're relatively new to my channel and my videos, the records behind me that are here are usually the records that I have purchased this week and are typically new releases, whether they be reissues or new music. So, where, like, for example, I've got the new Charlie XCX, I've got the two new classic vinyl series reissues, which I want to point out, they used to say that they were pressed at Optimal Pressing Plant, but they no longer say that. I thought that was kind of interesting. A reissue of a Converge album, and then Tool's redoing, if you will, of Opiate. So it's Opiate 2 on Blu-ray. The other thing that I wanted to kind of mention here is I'd love to have you check me out on my social media pages. The biggest one for me is the Facebook group that I've created, which I've got a link to below. I would love to have you join and be a part of that, and maybe post some maybe of the things that you've purchased, or maybe post some questions on there, or just get some group conversations going. I try to post on there at least once or twice a week, but not always that successful. But I'd love to get some more interaction with everybody out there. But you can also check me out on Instagram and Twitter also. And those links are down below as well. So, all right, got that out of the way. The next issue up here is how much do scratches and scuffs really affect play, and do they always affect play? And I bring this up for a couple of reasons. One is I have definitely been noticing, and I'm sure if there are any of you that buy new releases have as well, that the quality control has definitely gone down some recently. And a big part of that, I think, I'm just making assumptions here, is just the fact that they're trying to rush stuff out there because they are so backlogged that they just can't keep up. I've heard that some of these pressing plants are 6 to 12 months behind schedule. So if you're wanting to release a record, you better plan 6 to 12 months in advance, or you're not getting it. One example that I've got two examples that kind of prove that point a little bit, and that is actually the new Charlie XCX. I bought a exclusive color variation on her website and got a notification on release day that they are back ordered by, I think they said 5 weeks, which I find odd because, as you can see, this one I got, and I got another color variation as well. My guess is because she's from the UK that these are probably being pressed somewhere in Europe, where these ones were pressed in Canada. So maybe the facility that they're getting these pressed at in Europe are just behind. So the other one is by a band called Vane FM, formerly known as Vane, but their new release was supposed to come out I think it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week. And I got the digital download, and I got a notification that they printed a label for my record that is, again, a artist site exclusive, or I think it was Bandcamp, but regardless. And still has not shipped. And my local store, Newbury Comics, is actually going to have a exclusive color variant as well. And when I talked to them, they didn't get their copies of it either, and they have it listed as a change of release date for the vinyl of next week. So again, probably because of the backups of the pressing plants and how they just can't keep up, and they just can't anticipate how long things are going to take sometimes because they get so backed up. And pressing plant or a press goes down, or 2 presses go down, and they have to fix those. That cuts into a lot of the time as well, obviously. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. So after that long-winded explanation, I think between that issue with the pressing plants and the new reissues and the lack of quality control there, and just the fact that when you buy used records, most of them are not going to be flawless. You're going to have a scratch or two or a scuff or two on them. So the question becomes, how vigilant should you be about getting something that's perfect and immaculate? And obviously, ideally, in a perfect world, we'd all love to find our holy grails and other records that we are interested in perfect condition. But that's as any of you know who do some crate digging, that's just not going to happen. So you're going to have to take some that are maybe not in as perfect of a condition as you'd like them to be. And my experience has been both with the new releases and some old stuff, but even more importantly on the newer releases that are brand new and sealed, and you open them and they have minor scuffs and scratches and things like that, is I always play them through and try them out before I try to do any exchanges or anything like that, because I would say 80-90% of the time they play perfectly and the scuffs and scratches are inaudible. Now with used, I wouldn't say that that percentage is quite as high. I would say with used, you do get some occasional ones that tend not to be as audible. And the other thing that I've found is certain labels are better at, however they're pressed or wherever. I'm sure they're pressed in the same plants as some of the other ones. But, like, for example, some of the older Blue Notes and the James Brown, I don't remember, I think it's a King label or something like that. I can't remember now. But there was whatever the original label he was on. I've noticed that records from those labels specifically, even if there's scratches and scrapes and scuffs on them, they tend not to be as audible as some other ones have been. It's a tough call. It's one of those things that I would not necessarily give up on a record that you find used, for example, just because it's got some scuffs and scratches. If it doesn't look like it's too deep and it looks mainly like it's on the surface, give it a try, especially if the price is fair. Give it a try and see what you come up with. I would say that a lot of the times you'll find if you clean that record really well, you will probably be pretty satisfied with how that sounds and how it comes out. There will always be those ones, though, that just no matter what you do, it's gonna not sound good because of those scratches. So, but I guess that's my take. The bottom line for me is, don't always assume that scuffs and scratches are going to play an audible factor in the playback of your records. And I stress this specifically if you really want to continue to purchase new records and you come across new records that you've purchased that maybe don't look perfect. They still may play perfect. And getting one that's going to look visibly perfect may be a lot more difficult than it used to be, just because of the back orders and backups, backlogs of the pressing plants around the world right now. So that is my take on the situation. I'd love to hear about your experiences. What have you experienced, like the ones I was talking about, like with the older Blue Notes and I think it's King Records, whatever James Brown's original record label was, where you get something that looks scuffed and scratched up and it plays fine. What has been your experience with some of those? Do you have specific instances or labels that you've come across where those situations I just talked about are the case, where it may look beat up and scratched up, but it actually plays well and plays fine? So love to hear your comments below. If you liked what you saw here, please hit that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when my new videos come out, hit that alert bell. And I mentioned the social media pages earlier, but check out the links below to check those social media pages out. And that is everything for today. I hope you have a great week.